What's up, Honestly with Comedy podcast listeners? I appreciate you viewing this and following my series. This is Road to Recovery Part 4, I think. Anyway, so what I was saying is after doing junior college times, you know what? In junior college, let me tell you something. This is really gonna get stuttering and all. Okay? But all seriousness, I took advantage of the internships there. They had internships, job placement that fit the programs that you were actually taking. Mine was like administrative profession. I kind of just picked anything. It really didn't matter what post-secondary education that I was going to take, and obtain. I just know I needed something beyond a high school diploma. And then I wanted to also be able to tell my children what that experience was. Even if it wasn't a 4-year college, it took 4 years. Who knows what my college day, boy, tell you something. If I was in a dorm, yeah. Anyway, I was a God-fearing Christian. But anyway, so I took advantage. I highly suggest that take advantage of the internship programs that they offer it based on your program. Talk to your student council, whomever there in your college or technical college, whatever you go into. I don't care if it's online. Ask them what placements you can do, because it gives you on-hand training as well. So I took advantage of that stuff, which helped because it also applied to having hands-on job experience. So it was like that. And then eventually I started to apply for state jobs. It started off as the LTE, which is like limited term employment. So that, and then it then increased to like project position, which is like for a certain amount of time, usually like a year, and then they can extend it and whatnot. In those state jobs, they actually pay decent, depending on the state, of course. Some states, like the state of Texas, they might want to work on theirs. But the state of Wisconsin, they actually pay decent for those. And they have very good benefits. I'm not going to front. They do. But what's so crazy with the state of Wisconsin is the county, the city, they get paid. And you would think that the city, it's the city, right? And then the county, like Dane County, those type of jobs get paid. And I think they like union. And I didn't even know what union was. But they get really either free healthcare or like $1 they pay. Something like that. But then the state, it's like the whole state. Like you work for the state. And get nothing. And I say nothing compared to the city and the county. That's why. But it's something. Right? Okay. Sorry, I'm on the floor. Little bootleg podcast episodes here, but who cares? Okay. And then, so that was the case. I wanted to apply the skills at the same time while I was still going to school as well. You can get hands-on and you can get paid. I wasn't worried about what the starting pay was, because you work your way up, and that's one thing. Just don't never really settle, Just continue to move up, apply. I worked for the state in multiple different agencies for like almost 13 years, total, until I really got to a position where I was comfortable. But like I said, it was like a chain of command. It was like a ladder, like starting off at the bottom, now you're here, type of situation. And then I mentioned about disability because, as you know, as I told you, I was on disability for like a few years. And then ultimately what's crazy, and God said that one, I'm going to tell you something, because I did not qualify for that. The only how I qualified to work for Social Security or the Disability Bureau, it was because I was on it. I didn't have no previous experience. And then what's crazy is I wasn't even hired initially. I was not hired initially picked. I suck at interviewing. And I mean suck. I mean, I suck so bad. I'd be up in them interviews looking at the supervisor. Because, they had, the supervisor there, maybe a director, and then, somebody from HR or something. Maybe even a lead worker in that particular department. I suck so bad up in there. I'd be looking at the supervisor looking just stupid. Just stupid. Oh, help me. She like, girl, already? You want me to help you before I even hire you? Well, at least one thing, if she end up cookie, she at least ask for some help. You ain't gonna wait too long, is she? Nope. I know what I want, and I'm gonna go after what I want. So, but also, I was like, how them interviews be all robotic and whatever. Yeah, so tell me about your old job. Well, I did a register for 6 years. Tell you what, it was a headache. These people call, but I'm the type of person, you get a lot of people who work at jobs and stuff that they cannot tolerate people cussing them out or yelling at them, especially if they have to talk to them on the phone. I'm a little weird in a way, right? Where I actually enjoy jobs that have customers call and cuss me out, but I don't even get mad about it almost. It's like an adrenaline for something reason. That's probably why I ended up on that disability. And I ain't realized it. But it wakens the job up. And then it's I also look at it as we're all consumers at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? We're all consumers at the end of the day. Why would I get mad at them unless you just calling me dumb and I'm like, sir or ma'am, I'm really genuinely trying to help you. I was at the bank earlier and I wish they knew what they were doing. But that's why I don't get mad at people. Well, depending on. Now, you mess up my food. That's a different situation. Okay? But if we're talking about regular items, then you can get the benefit of the doubt. But you mess up my food? No, that's a problem. But anyway, I'm just saying. So, I went from on disability to working for a disability. And like I said, I did not expect to get that. I didn't even get hired. And what happened is the person who did get hired in my spot either dropped out or they couldn't relocate or something, right, happened. And then they ended up calling me as a leftover, which I didn't mind. Some people, what do you mean I didn't get a pick in this? You mean I'm a +1 from a +1? I didn't use it. I don't care. If the Lord giveth, I'ma taketh. You feel me? So it was meant for me to be there. You could tell. Because let me tell you something. Ain't none of quinkadink. I can tell you that much. Especially going down this spiritual journey. I comes to learn some things. Ain't none of quinky dink up in here. It is all spiritual control. It is all spiritually divine. God definitely got a plan for all of us. Okay? Especially if you still living, then you got stuff to do for the Lord. But we don't know all that. Only He knows the plans. But I just knew it was time for me to get that job. So He brought it to me. So I took it. And then what was crazy, I was still on disability when I got hired. So now I'm on disability and working for them at the same time. But of course that had to end. Because, we ain't playing those games right there. But it was just full circle and stuff, But that's what happens when you don't give up and you just kind of follow your spirit. I'm telling you, you just kind of get this internal intuition, something spiritually is leading you, Well,